Hello, everybody. Welcome to Minorca Consciousness Group for this special live session with the beautiful and lovely Lissi Hansen. Got to confess, I always enjoy and I just love talking to Lissi. I think she's just kind of got this spark and light about her, which is really admirable. And the things what she's doing as well for all people is amazing. So, but thank you so much for joining us. Welcome to Minorca Consciousness Group. We have got just a couple of notices just to make, if that's okay. Several things today. As some of you know, we've opened the new Ethereal Virtual Centre. It is a spiritual centre as such, but it's also ethereal in the sense that we have a tendency to move our awareness towards the light, that ethereal energy, if you like. And there's lots happening through the week. Some of it will be drawn to a close, obviously, for Christmas, but there's trance healing clinic, meditations every day up to the 12th with Pauline Barnfather. This evening, after the show, we've got an open circle or circle with spirit. That'll be followed by a meditation with Annie Fraser or Annie Claire. I always say Fraser, I don't know why, because I like the Z. And we're developing your spiritual gifts tomorrow, etc. So please have a look on the calendar on Minorca Consciousness Group, and you'll be able to see everything what's taking place in the new year. We've got a lot more coming up. We've got several things between now and Christmas. So I just want to say hello to Tahni. Hi, Tahni. Lovely to see you. Thanks for joining us. And I think that might be Margaret. Malgortaz go. Well, let's go. Margaret. Hi, Margaret. I think it is. Wow. I love how you've written that. Judith. Hello, Judith. Lovely to see you. Thanks for joining us. Hope everything's good. Still sending lots of prayers and thoughts to you guys, Judith. Hope everything's easing up a bit. So you've not been out of our prayers or thoughts. Good morning, Lynn. What time will it be over there? Whoa, what time is it where you are, Lynn? Vancouver. So Margaret, there she is. Hello to all. Chanda's joined us. Hi, Chanda. Thanks for joining us. Lovely to see you. So, as I was saying, we've got lots of things coming up, but we'll talk about them later. Anyway, there was one specific thing which I wanted. That's me. Oh, Judith. So, Francis has joined us. Hi, Francis. This is like, it's 9 a.m. in the morning. Well, that's not too bad. It's not. We had what did we have yesterday? We had an amazing workshop yesterday on ascension and frequencies of the higher self, which we'll be doing more on. Potentially, I may be doing on Tuesday. I may be doing a live, which will be looking at the higher self, aspects of the higher self. So I'm getting quite inspired to get these things out there. So hopefully I can get the benefit of some of the information. Potentially, so on Tuesday it might be talk on the higher self, Q&A, and maybe a few messages. So I've been feeling spirit around me all the time, and I feel like they want to communicate, but I don't know how to do it or who it is. Would you be able to tell me? I'll appreciate it. Marlene, thank you for joining us, Marlene. Shortly, yes, we'll hold on to that question. Before I go any further, if anybody wishes any healing or to be inspired, have a look on the Minorca Consciousness Group on Ethereal Virtual Centre. We've got some amazing minds, and I really do want to say thank you to all the minds was and the tutors. Don't like me calling them tutors, but for me, they are tutors. They're helping a lot of people. We have somewhere in the region between 15 and 20 events on every week now. So, and it's just organically done it for myself, of course. It's all guided by spirit. Ruth, hi Ruth. So I'm going to shut up, and I'd like to bring Lissi Hansen in, if I may, and let's get on with I don't want to say the show, but let's go on with this event. So, Lissi.
Hi.
Hello. Was I waffling on too much? Did I waffle on too much?
No, not at all.
I always think when you're behind the scenes, you sit there twiddling your thumbs, waiting.
No, I've always got things to do, so it was fine.
So, lovely warm welcome, Lissi. Thank you so much for accepting our offer. It's very kind of you to join us.
Thank you so much for having me.
I really like our talks, as you know.
Yes.
So I would say, please tell us a bit about yourself. What you're doing, what's your main kind of aspect, what you've got on at the minute.
So what's going on for me? So I'm a medium. I do mediumship. I do trance channeling, and I also am very interested in consciousness and awareness and the expansion of those things. I do bits and bobs. I mean, I work with spirit every day. I work with the angels, and I also work with beings of light from all sorts of different places. I have a very vast spiritual team behind me. So yeah, all of the things that I channel come from many different places. So yeah, so I've been doing a bit of platform. I've been doing what have I been doing? I've been doing some private readings. I have a little channel that I run on social media, so that's been keeping me quite busy. And
What channel is this? Hang on. What channel is this one?
Well, it's not like a channel, but it's my social media that I've got up and running finally. Under Elizabeth Lux.
Elizabeth Lux.
Yeah, where I basically channel collective messages for the collective that I'm tapping into. So there's all sorts coming through. It's very interesting. It's quite exciting.
Absolutely amazing. I love it. It sounds amazing, doesn't it?
Yeah, I mean it varies a bit sometimes. Right now there's a lot going on about divine counterparts. I kind of touched on this a little bit when I spoke to you at the circle last time. So there's so many messages coming in about people kind of coming into union. So, but I also channel other things. It just depends what's coming in. So yeah, it's fun.
I love it. I'm beginning to sense that you're sensing them around you at the minute. It's like I'm watching you. I'm thinking, oh, here they come. Here they come.
I
know. Oh. So I just want to say hello and thank you to everybody for joining us. KJ Hearts, Kayla, thanks for watching. Thank you for sharing time with us today. KG, pleasure's all ours. Thank you for giving you time to, step in and join us. It's beautiful. As some of you know, as far as I'm concerned, me and Lizzie, really, we're just players in the game like everybody in this space. It's all our collective lights coming in together doing the magic. So we just happen to be the focus of attention, I should imagine, while we're sitting here. But while we're waffling away, all the energy and the light is doing its magic on other levels. So really nice of you to say that, though, KG. Thank you so much. And you mix healing in with all this, because there's healing aspect in all of this, Lizzie.
Yeah. So I mean, I did some courses on healing anyway, but I've always, for ages, I'd say about 5 years, I've been channeling healing frequencies.
Yeah.
So I did spend a lot of time doing a lot of healing and stuff. And then I kind of put it aside for mediumship.
Yeah.
And then funny enough, as soon as I started doing trance, it kind of interweaved with the trance. So so it's sort of come back round again. It's come back into it, which I knew it. I kind of knew anyway, because when I spoke to my guides, they said you just need to put it aside for a bit, and then we're going to kind of bring it back in. So, so there's a lot going on, but also it's quite interesting while we're on the subject, because even words can be very healing. And I was at a trance workshop on last Sunday, and I was talking about, because when you get talking, and I was sort of talking about frequencies and codes and stuff, and some people in the room were just like, what is she on about? And actually my teacher, the person that taught me how to do mediumship on platform, was there in the circle that day at the workshop. And it's the first time we've sat in a workshop together. And he was the one that asked about, what does it mean when you talk about codes, codes in the words? Because I was trying to say that, when you do trance healing and sometimes you actually speak, they speak through you. So through the words are the codes are kind of being transmitted through the words. So there's so many different ways that healing finds its place within the things that we're doing.
Yeah, totally. I absolutely 100% agree with this, Lizzie. And my understanding, and not just mentally understand, but energetically by experiencing the experience of, literally healing is taking place at all times, merely by all of us being present. More so when somebody's had the awakening, that shift in their psyche, that expansion of the psyche opens up, and then the light seems to pop out and starts emanating. And wherever we place ourselves, then there's a healing happening.
Yeah.
And it's so, and then when we intentionally decide to do healing or intentionally go for mediumship or trance, etc., and channeling, that healing intensifies. That's how I've always seen this. I mean, healers actually, for me, I don't know, stunning minds, beautiful minds, because it's like they dedicate that area of their life literally for other beings to be of benefit to others. For me, that's priceless. For me.
Even if you think about mediumship, you know, it's an extremely healing experience, and the words. Again, the words are so healing to the people that we give them to, right?
Yeah.
So it just expands on so many different levels, and I love that.
It's literally, I mean, you're literally leading us into the title, aren't you, for tonight, Into the Light, because all those frequencies and vibrations of light somehow transform energy in the form of healing. I'm just going to say a quick hello to Busher. Hi, Busher. Thanks for joining us. And Sue, lovely to have you with us, Sue. Thanks for joining us.
Hi, guys.
Judith Miller, always in the way we need it at the time. Always in the way we need at the time. Judith, so true. Totally agree. The healing comes in that moment when it's most needed. It's like little miracles, isn't it? Sometimes, well, little. I shouldn't be saying little, but miracles. But then, as we go into the light, then Lizzie, because what we're looking at is, no, let's ask the question. There was one final question I wanted to ask you before we started, kind of opened it up a bit more. So, at this present time, what's the strongest one? What's ripened within you? Is it mediumship? Is it trance? What is it? A specific one?
Well, it's quite interesting. Oh, why is that going on? I don't know why that's happening.
Oh, have we got an echo?
Yeah, I don't know why there was an echo. Anyway, well, it's quite interesting because I feel like at this point they're all weaved together into one thing. So it's not like I'm doing sessions for healing, but the healing happens whenever I'm working with spirit or working with beings of light, because it's interweaved, right? My main focus is still mediumship and trance and, you know, that sort of stuff, but the healing is interweaved into it. So there's no separation in a sense, you know?
Yeah, totally agree. Yeah, it's all unified. It's like we can say this is part of the unified field in that respect. So it doesn't matter what anybody is doing as such, what the mind or the soul is drawn to do. That interconnectedness, there's always that overlap, not just with the topics, but energetically.
Yeah, exactly.
Interweaving, like you've just described it, it's like everything's interwoven in the fabric of existence.
Yeah.
And we're kind of this soul just going along, and you know, something ripens, trance, mediumship, whatever it is.
I think this is I can still hear an echo. Why? I don't know why that's happening.
Is it when you speak or when I speak?
I think it's when I speak, but I don't know why that's happening, because it wasn't happening and now it seems to be.
No, it wasn't. Have you got Kermit the Frog in there with you? What's going on in there?
Yeah, exactly, right? Hang on.
Rabbit.
See. I'm going to turn off my Bluetooth just in case there's some interference. So What was I going to say?
You were talking about ascension and into the light.
The thing about us raising our consciousness is realizing that everything is interlinked, including all humans, all sentient beings, all energy in itself, because everything is part of source, and we are source, right? So we are one. Yeah. This is the message that I got a lot in meditation and in other things as well. They just kept coming in and saying to me, don't forget, you are me and I am you. We are one. Okay. So the more we can start to think that everything is one, including ourselves, the more you realize you don't have to have separation.
Good stuff, this, Lizzie. Good stuff. It's true, isn't it? It's totally true. I was thinking while you were talking, I was thinking, okay, so what we've got here is we're trying to, no, let me reword it. Let's say we're getting to the point where we can be the oneness, we can be the whole. And these conversations and what I call all the spiritual teachings, but sharing them all are mirrors and reflections to all of us. And it can help us get to that point, because we have this curious habit of intellectualizing the teachings. We think about them, talk about them, and you go, okay, hang on, we know the next phase, we need to embody them, we need to put them in and walk it and feel and experience the teachings. And in that experience of feeling them, or even having the realizations, because the profound realization is what we're chasing. So we're trying to get to the point of having a profound realization of the oneness, which then in that oneness is exactly what you're describing. We've expanded, not so much in a bloated way, but our light is emitting to such a degree that we've merged with the whole. And we're walking that aspect. And we're doing it not just for 10 minutes or half an hour in a Zoom meeting and all the rest of it. That we've embodied it fully, and we're walking that throughout every moment of our being. Well, not just in this world, but when we go over. But in this case, while we're here, if that makes sense. And what I find really interesting, and I absolutely love it, is merely by having the conversations about this stuff, shows how close we are to embodying it.
Yeah, exactly. Well, it's the pure awareness of that itself, which means that you're already embodying that version of yourself, but also that energy and that frequency, right?
Yes. Yeah. It's like walking it. Literally, I suppose in our most fundamental terms, we're talking in its rawest form, but its most expansive form, walking the light.
Yeah.
We can say being the light, but let's say if we're walking that light and it's there present at all times with us, this like exuding, emanating frequencies. Judith, absolutely, separation known as zigs in the mind. Yeah, totally, Judith. And it's beautiful because we're getting away. We're moving towards the oneness. We're moving towards the source. Hi, Annie. Lovely to see you. Annie will be leading the meditation after the open circle tonight, guys. If anybody wishes to join us or join Annie. But yeah, so when we're looking at separation is coming to an end. Divide, division, all them, the duality aspects. And this event what's taking place is bringing us closest to that center point, isn't it? So just quickly though, Lizzie, there's a couple of points. One is the trance aspect, which I wanted to kind of open up a little bit. And I just want to say to everybody who's just joined us, thank you, everybody. Welcome. Thanks for joining us. Yeah, say hello to whoever you want to, Lizzie.
Hello in general.
Sorry. So if anybody's got any comments or questions, put them in the chat, please. If you feel like sharing this live, then please share it wherever you want to share it. But your comments and questions, we're going to be talking just for a short while, and then we're going to try and look at these questions and thoughts. So, trance is one, and then we'll come back into the light aspect. But clearly, we're seeing a huge surge in people wishing to develop their trance capacity. Have you got? What's your thoughts on this? Because this fascinates me. This.
Say that again.
We can clearly see that a lot of people have been drawn towards trance and developing their trance ability. Let's call it ability, for want of a better word. Personally, I absolutely love it. I love the fact that it's coming through. What's your thoughts? Have you got any thoughts on it?
I think that it's part of the expansion of our consciousness. I think that we're meant to embody these gifts that we have already, so that we can realize that we are the creators, that we're one with source, so that we can actually create the world that we want to live in. Okay. But it's like evolution in itself. Okay. That's how I see it. It's evolution in itself. It's purely a stage of evolution.
Yeah, interesting that you've said that, because this week I'm partly creating a PowerPoint presentation, which behind the scenes, which shows almost the line from awakening and its initial stages. I don't want to say too much because it would give too much away.
Yeah,
but up to trance, and where we currently are, and when we look at it, we think it's our decision. Oh, I'll do this. I'd like to do that, and we feel inspired to do it. Like, I feel inspired to be a medium. I feel inspired to understand and learn healing. I feel inspired to understand channeling, etc. And yet, when we kind of step back and look at what's somewhere in the space to observe it, and you go, wow, this is exactly what you've just said. This is a natural stage of evolution happening. And that's the part where what I personally always enjoy, that nature is doing it. The cosmos, if you like, is the one what's not dictating it. It can do if it wishes, but encouraging and inspiring all souls to kind of walk along that path. And I don't mean walk along the path towards trance. I don't mean that. I mean the direction in which the collective is going.
Yeah, exactly.
And then when we bring into play the different dimensions, multi-dimensions, planes of existence, and all this lot, that's where we then say, okay, we're getting to the point where separation is dissolving, and we are merging with the source, so to speak. So, and everything in and around is about light.
That also opens up a very interesting thing that I think will be happening, which is as we remove these veils, okay, as we ascend more and more, we'll be able to see so much more beyond what we can see now. So we're going to be able to be present with other forms of existence, because right now it's just us, right? So we can hear spirit right now, and some people see an image of a spirit in the form that they were when they were on Earth, but currently we're not really able to look right through the veil. Okay, you can see an image of maybe a being of light. Okay, I've seen them plenty of times, but it's not like we're right there yet that we can be. We realize we are actually in the room with them. Do you understand what I mean? It's like we see it in our mind, but we're not actually sort of face to face with it. But that will happen the more that we raise our consciousness. And
Yeah.
then I find I'm so excited about that part because I'm like, can we just do that now?
Well, I actually think no, I can't say I've got to use a different frequency. I do know that's already taking place with some minds.
Yeah, it is. Yeah,
and
there's people at the forefront, you know.
Yes, yeah,
there's
and that's going to
forefront. So
yeah, and I firmly believe what you've just said. It's we're going towards that. That's right, Lizzie.
Yeah.
Totally. It's like in the end, humanity is going to be walking with them as clear as anything, seeing them, communicating with them like we're communicating now. It's interesting in it because the more, and it takes us back to healing for some reason. The more the healings, and I have a different concept on healing because there's a part of me thinks there's no such thing as healing when I go to a different frequency because there isn't. But when we're talking about healing in a certain manner, then there's a reality to it. So the more the mind heals, and we know a layer comes off, it peels a layer off, and then
can I say?
Yeah, go on.
It should almost be called like a remembrance rather than a healing, because you're coming back to the truest version of yourself.
Well, now, I think we should, you know what? I think we should have a whole conversation.
We should have one that should be about that, right?
About remembering this thing about memory, because I have a different thinking on that. Oh. And I think we should do one seriously, because I think it's such a topic at the minute. I don't want to open it up. This is the thing when we start talking, it's like, okay, oh, hang on, we can go in that direction. It's like, we can go in that direction. Like, stop, you can't.
Let's stick to the subject. Carry on.
Right, so put the peeling of the layers back. So it's like as humanity peels its layers off, clearly, how can we put this? Clearly, the light not only does the light expand and shine further, it's almost like it's been contained, so it's got a degree of freedom to shine as each layer comes off. Okay, and them layers can be anything. And in that expansiveness, that continuous unfoldment of expansiveness, is where that merging takes place. And I think this is the exciting bit, the merging, that moment of experiencing a being of light, whether it's a spiritual guide, whatever, family, it doesn't matter. Experiencing a being of light is one of the most magical moments for any mind on the planet and on any soul on the planet to experience. And of course, we can have many of those experiences. So, Patrick, hi Patrick, thanks for joining us. So we have a look at what, lovely to see you, Patrick.
Hi Patrick.
He always looks smart in that suit of his, doesn't he, with suit and tie?
I know.
Keep thinking, oh, I should get a jacket and tie on again like I used to. We're looking quite dapper. Judith, okay, back in the 1800s, freedom of speech teachings had no limit. Through the years, we gain restrictions we have to let go of. What's your opinion? Lizzie, over to you. Good question, Judith. Thank you.
It's such a deep one, isn't it? Because I think there's been so much control and repression within the social structures of how we live. And it branches into all sorts of things. I could go quite deep, but you know, I feel like it's quite a big subject in itself. But yes, I do think that we have to learn to let go. And I talk about this all the time. And when I teach trance channeling, I always say that, you know, we kind of have to surrender. Like the biggest word is surrender, right? So we've talked about that before. It's you're doing trance work. So surrender is really, really important.
Yeah.
And so I feel in the state of surrender, when you learn how to do it in meditation or trance or whatever it is that you're doing, you learn to let go. You learn to put yourself aside, which is the ego and everything that you think, all your belief systems, everything gets put aside. Yeah. And that's when you become a real true channel, you know, because you're able to put everything aside.
Yeah.
And you've had that experience, I feel like you come out of a different belief, with a different belief system, because having the feeling of something speak through you changes your whole perception of the world and the way we live within the world.
Interesting, Lizzie.
That's my answer.
Yeah, good. Interesting, because and like you say, when you have let's say when there's transmissions taking place, which we understand is not of our own consciousness or our own mind, even though we're part of the unified field of the whole, we're part of the whole itself. We are the whole, not just a part of it. But it is a very odd, unusual, but exciting kind of sensation of those vibrations. Coming to what, and trance is, this way trance is quite an intriguing and exceptionally interesting area at the moment, because we know there's different layers to it. This is where the talk on Tuesday, I'm going to be doing a talk on Tuesday. We're going to open the Zoom, open the live, and talking about possibly the trance altered states and frequencies of the higher self. Just a short one. Yesterday we did a workshop yesterday on it. It was like, I don't know, 6-7 hours in there, and we was looking at all the different aspects of the higher self and trance, etc., and the altered state and consciousness. And then it was a beautiful afternoon. And thank you to everybody what came to it. And then today I thought, okay, I know I had to do something on Tuesday. Maybe I'm just going to do a short section on this on Tuesday, because I do feel Spirit want this information out there regarding this stage where we're at the moment, which then comes to where we are with Judith's thoughts and question. Back in the 1800s, freedom, spirit, teachings, and no limits. Through the years, we gave restrictions we have to let go of. What's your opinion? Brilliant question, Judith. I would, in trying to sum it up fairly quick, I would say, I think spiritual institutions on the planet have created self-imposed limitations. I respect and understand it, but it's almost like it had put the blinkers on a lot of minds, what was quite open to experience other facets and aspects of the spiritual space, such as channeling and these things. So I think the spiritual institutions at the time placed restrictions on, and I think the earthly material system of the planet distracted a lot of people, and that limited. And then, so we had a tightening up of the reins of spiritual progress, if you like. Now what's happening? The reins have come off. Nobody's ever. It's like you're not putting reins on me. If I put reins on myself, I'm doing it. You lot are not going to do it. And this is the part where I love.
Me too.
It's like, okay, I do believe, on a side note, I do believe every spiritual center and church on this planet should open their space to channelers and trance minds in their space. They should allow it, because I've witnessed personally how there was no chance you could experience trance in an open circle or anywhere else inside a spiritual church or center. And this wasn't intended to come out on here tonight, but it's just my opinion. I understand all the reasons for it, but they've been so restrictive and they've held so many people's development back over the years as a result of what you're saying, these restrictions, Judith. So now we're at the point, it's like no chance. And the good thing is we've got social media. So the individual now can decide for themselves, I'm going to go on TikTok, I'm going to post this comment, and I'm going to put this. And if people like it, they like it. If they don't, nothing I can do. But I am now being inspired to share this information. Yes. And this is why we've had a phenomenal surge. What I believe, as a result of it, that's creating a massive awakening even more so. More and more people are awakening as a result of all the information is out there, because there's no restrictions on them. It's like, no, I'm not part of any group and clique or anything like that. Me personally, I don't believe in tribes. Find your tribe. No, find your tribe is a division. It's like this. It's got to be oneness. So we vibrate to a frequency of equal magnitude. Basically, like we get drawn to each other and we communicate and take it from there. Anyway, somebody was just going to get off on that. Good point, Judy.
This is why I said it's such a big subject, because if I go into all the systems that I feel, where we've been held back, I could just go on for hours about it.
Yeah, this is the thing, isn't it? So it leads us to something else then, Lizzie, doesn't it? It leads us to the point we're at the minute, and this is another aspect, because there's so much positive energy what's going on at the minute. People are catching the minds. There's jealousy in the space, there's this in the space, there's drama, there's gossip, and people are not getting drawn into it. End of story. And I love it.
Yeah.
I absolutely, because the vibration and the frequency, what they sense from those aspects, they don't want them interfering with their light. They're going, I'm sorry, I'm here to do a task, I'm here on a mission, I'm here to do a job. I think everybody on the planet thinks, especially in the spiritual space, everybody thinks we're on a mission, and it's like, well, so everybody else's guy, you know what I mean? So, and I think when they're turning the light up, it's like, I'm off, like Buzz Lightyear, see you, guy. And it's like, hey, come in with me. It's like, if you don't, it's okay, can do if you want.
Exactly.
And I love that, because that's the speed, for me, that's the speed of light and frequencies, and where spirit really gets sparked up and come in, and they work very fast. They don't debate and fight and fall out and argue and all that. They don't do any of that stuff. It doesn't exist. It's like, this is what we're doing, end of story, and they do it. And once it's done, they walk away. And I think we're now starting to get to that same point where intuitively it's like, are we doing this? Yes or no? Boom. And I love that. Them sort of frequencies of light is within all of us and ready for it to be opened up. Right, go on then. You have to just jump in now, Lizzie, if I go off on one. Cut me off. I've been tripping all day here. The energy has been amazing today. It's like incredible.
I think we covered this one.
Yeah. Thank you, Judith.
If anyone has any questions, please put them in the in the question box.
Talking about trance, happy Sunday evening, everybody. Love from Stroud, Gloucestershire. Alison, thanks for joining us. Lovely to have you with us. So, for some reason, all in on this concept of trance business, Lizzie.
Yeah.
So, what would your advice if somebody who's interested in doing trance?
Yeah.
And starting trance, what would you say to them? What advice, or what not advice, but what would you kind of offer from your side?
I mean, I think to have a little bit of understanding of mediumship helps, because it opens up your mind. Okay.
Yeah.
You think going into trance, if you haven't had any of those experiences before, a little bit experience in mediumship probably will help, because that in itself, you learn surrender through that process of speaking to spirit, because you're having to put yourself aside and your ego aside to have the conversation with spirit. So for me personally, I think that that's very helpful, because you've already gone through a process of learning how to put yourself aside. And so when you step into actually doing trance, I'm not saying you have to have a lot of experience in mediumship, because I certainly didn't when I started doing trance. I mean, I've always channeled. So, it's always come through in all sorts of situations, talking to friends or doing my job, or, I'm talking to somebody, and spirit's always managed to kind of channel through me. So, and that's when I realized, when I first did trance, I was like, oh, I know this feeling. I get this feeling all the time. I've been doing this all my life then. But then there's obviously, we talk about all the different levels of trance, right? So if we're talking about trance channeling, so for me, when I was doing trance channeling, I realized, oh, I've been doing this all my life, you know. And then you get the deeper states of trance, which you learn as you go along. You do it more and more. You learn to surrender and allow yourself to kind of push aside more and more, so that they can take more and more control. But yeah, I think it's just going into it with an open mind, a positive, I always say a positive attitude and belief system that it's going to be for your highest good will certainly help, you know, because I do see some people step into trance workshops and they're full of fear. And I don't think it's not very good to put yourself in the space if you're so fearful, because you know, like, you're just the experience is going to be too overwhelming. Okay, so there is definitely a level of being able to be comfortable and to, you know, have a positive mindset about it. But really, I went into it with a lot of excitement. But then I'm like that. Everything that I do, I always think, that's super exciting. Let's do it.
I'm off.
Yeah, exactly. So that helps me, because my vibration is already on that kind of frequency of being quite high, because I'm kind of excited, right? So, and when you're excited, I feel like that just kind of opens everything up a lot easier, because you're already kind of in a state of surrender, I think, if you're in excitement. So kind of tend to chase the excitement and not stay in the lower kind of realms of vibration. So that's really helped me, but on a personal level. But yeah, I just think see every opportunity within that space as an opportunity to learn something and be excited about it. It's the same with mediumship. Every time you go to a circle and attend this circle, be excited about it. Be excited about what evidence you're going to get to give to a person, because that one sentence that you give to that person could change their life from this moment forward, right? You could say something like, it could be something like, I'm seeing a red Volvo, you know, driving up a dirt road. And that person could be in tears because their dad drove a red Volvo up a dirt road. Do you know what I mean? And that moment will be etched in that person's mind forever, because they know that that spirit was with us in that moment, and we're sharing that frequency and connection.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's my answer.
Beautiful, really nice advice and inspiration. Definitely, Lizzie. I like some of the comments as well. I've just noticed some of the comments. Patrick, tell them to watch others, and then they should. It's gone. Oh, sorry. I tell them to watch others, and then they should know it can take many years.
Well, so, I mean, because some people are literally just open. My first trance workshop, I went into I would say midway trance, and you know, had beings of light speaking through me. So do you know what I mean? So yeah, it just depends maybe all on how much you worked on yourself and your level of awareness and where you're at on the journey, you know?
Definitely. It's funny because I'm pleased. I like the fact Patrick's put this up. Thank you, Patrick, because
but it can take years for some people.
Yeah, well, this is the point, isn't it? Because what I was going to say is we're at this stage now of spiritual development on the planet that there's almost no limit now. There's no time factor playing out specifically. Somebody can walk in a space and click, they've gone, and spirit's it. Somehow their mind has had the capacity and the correct frequency and the correct conditions have been created for that mind to do that there and then. Totally innocent, no experience, it's just happened. And I've actually witnessed it. Okay. And then we go through that spectrum and the variations of times where somebody will then, they'll be sitting there for 6 months and it won't happen. They'll be sitting there for 6 weeks, the first words start coming out. They can be sitting there for 6 weeks and not say 6 years and nothing's been said.
Yeah.
So I think this is why I like this point what Patrick's made, because in a way there is no time. It comes when, let's say, when the correct conditions are in place. I also think it connects to past lives. Because I think from a past life perspective, if a soul has trained the mind in different areas, i.e., attained a certain frequency of awareness or whatever area that may be, and they're vibrating at a certain frequency when they come into this world, they go in, sit in a space, sit there, that frequency is locked into place with spirit, and bang, spirit's in, whether it's channeling or trance. So,
but I do think it's got a lot to do with I just feel spirit going, yes, say it.
come on, Lizzie.
It's got a lot to do with your own journey and how much you've worked on yourself.
Evolved.
Yeah, because I think it's got a lot, for me personally, I think this self-development is a really important part of doing this, because what we're talking about raising our frequency to the level where we can allow other beings to merge. You know, we can merge with their frequency and they can ours, right? It takes a level of awareness and spiritual development and personal development. So I think that if you've done a lot of inner work and you've cleared a lot, you've taken off all those layers.
Yeah.
Okay, that really helps, because you're more observer than you are so in the physical, in the 3D. Okay. So for me, I did a lot of inner work before I even before I stepped into mediumship. So when I stepped into mediumship, everything happened extremely quickly, because I'd already kind of, stripped a lot of layers off.
Yeah.
And the people that I see struggle a lot, it's because they struggle. The struggle is in the mind.
Yeah.
It's the belief systems within the mind that stop them, and the fears that stop them from being able to surrender. I
think this is a good part of this conversation, to be honest, Lizzie, because regarding the trance state, I don't want to put trance and channeling together, but let's say we can put mediumship with it. But regarding the trance state, I think it takes, and I agree with entirely what you've said, what Patrick said, and also what Judith is saying. No preconceptions, which is in the mind again. So, but I think you've raised a really valid point, which is do the homework here.
Yeah.
We've got to do the self-analysis. We've got to do the letting go. We've got to do the purifying, the cleansing, the clearing, whatever term anybody wants to give it, in order to empty the vessel or channel. And we know then it's a lot easier. And like as you've just described it, we can then vibrate at a certain frequency, and that attunement, that gives us the ability to make that attunement a lot easier. And it gives those beings of light that capacity. It helps them so much because they have to do less work then. If somebody's, well, I've got to be careful here, because if somebody's a bit more dense, in a humorous way, then, well, everybody knows what I mean. Then spirit's got to do more work. Whereas, because they've got more obstacles in the way to get through, to get in to be able to communicate through trance. I think, and also just quickly on this note, with that, what you said about surrender, it's funny because we have 2 trance groups a week on ours, on Menorca Consciousness Group. One's just finished last week, and we've got 1 session left. We're going to start them over in January, beginning January again. So we've got trance channeling on one evening, and we've got trance mediumship and trance healing on the other. And the energy has been amazing, and something clearly ripened. We've had some nice, beautiful energy, and there's certain things been spoken as well. It's been beautiful. But something else ripened a couple of weeks ago, and it was one word: allow. And it wasn't even allowing or allowance. We simply have to allow spirit to come in.
Yeah.
And in that way, it's so close to what you've just said, that word you've used, Lizzie, surrender. Because they're very closely related, obviously. It's like, so you just allow it, because we have a tendency when spirit's coming in to put some barrier up. and we're trying to let go of the barrier so they come in, there'll be another one, and so on. There's this gradual process of they're trying to get close, and we're constantly trying to let go and surrender more and more. And in that is the allowing. It's like we just allow it for them to come in. I would say to people, but anybody's listening to this, regarding the trance, don't think trance is going to take a lifetime for you to do by any means. I think what is important is just allow it to take the time it takes, but put the work into it. Because the more you put your work into it, the quicker that trance state will come about for most people genuinely. And forget time altogether in that concept. That's where I stand with it. That's where I've always stood, because of what we're saying. Some people can walk in and go into trance simply, like, in one go. Somebody can do it. Yeah.
I've seen it happen in so many workshops that somebody stepped in and they've never done it before, and next minute got some sort of collective consciousness channeling through them, and it's like the most amazing thing ever.
Yeah.
They've never done anything like that before, and they're not even that experienced in mediumship, I do think that's got a lot to do, like I said, with the height of our consciousness, how conscious we are.
100%.
I think it helps,
Yeah, 100%. Some nice comments as well here. Is like, Judith, not when we want, but when we're ready.
Yeah, exactly. It's when the soul is ready to do it, and you can't rush that. But yeah, I do think it helps. The more you do your own work, and the higher you vibrate, the easier the blend is.
Very much. It's like,
and the safer you feel as well, because I think a lot of people, it's the initial thing of not feeling. It's almost like because they think of themselves as separate.
Yeah.
The higher your consciousness is, the more you realize, like we spoke about in the beginning. Now we're going back to the beginning of the chat, which is all about we are one. Everything is one.
Yeah.
If you think everything is one, then you've got nothing to be afraid of, right? Because it's just energy merging with energy. That's all it is.
Yeah. Funny, isn't it? Because it all comes back round.
Think outside of your physical self.
Yeah.
Outside of the 3D earth, and think of yourself as energy just merging with another energy for a short term, and then it will go, you will
See, this is good advice. This is really good advice for anybody. It's funny, isn't it? Because it does bring us back. It brings us back to
background, to the beginning,
to the ascension, aspect, into the light. Literally, we're ascending into light. So everything is easier the more ascended the consciousness is.
Yes.
It's clearer, it's lighter, it's more beneficial. Everything about having an ascended state of awareness or consciousness is beneficial, more beneficial. And the light gets in and peels some of the layers off without anybody knowing it's done it. And all of a sudden somebody goes, I feel lighter. I don't know what's happened. Like, well, you've been touching the light.
But see, this is the other thing, because eventually I believe we're going to be able to telepathically just be able to have conversations without actually using our voice box, right? But using our minds. And I'm already doing it. It happens all the time. You do it too. I know, because you'll think of me and then I'll think of you. And then we write a message and we go, oh, we're thinking. And the other day when you said, what should we call it? Into the light. Literally, we both had that in our mind at the same time.
Yeah.
So as we move through the levels of consciousness, it's like we realize that we're all one. It's a unity consciousness. Okay. So
this is what I think. This is what people need to hear: unity consciousness, multi-dimensional aspect.
That's where we're moving to.
Opening up, not just opening up to give a message, but opening up, expanding completely. And again, I would agree with what you just said. Let's look at the body. Let's look at the physical one for a moment, briefly, because generally it's perceived as this solid, dense, heavy form of matter. Okay, and we for a lot of people, they're dragging this physical weight around with them, and it's like, okay, let's just change our perception on this slightly. we're looking at molecules and particles and atoms, which are so light and vibrating, and there's got immense space in between each one of them.
Yeah.
Just speaking this way, to going back to the codes and light language and the vibrations, or voice vibrations, merely by speaking this changes the perception of things. So it's like, okay, does my body really exist? Well, it does, but not in the form you think it does. No, sorry. Our body, like everything, it appears in the way we think. So if we think it's heavy and dense, it's going to be heavy and dense. If we think it's particles and atoms, it's going to be particles and atoms. And what helps us perceive in that way is when our light is turned up, our consciousness is lit up and expanded, and it literally moving through the physical body, and you go, well, this feels like I could just put my hand through this table or walk through that door. And it's like, then for me is where we're getting somewhere. And from that ascension and expansion of consciousness leads us to unity consciousness, where the telepathic ability is really going to kick in as we go forward. So it's almost like we're shedding the density, not just of the physical body, like the physical body is just going to fall away. It's not. But we're shedding the perception and awareness, or the frequency we perceive the physical body on. We're shifting those frequencies to higher, pure ones. So then it's like, okay. And the body doesn't fall away. It appears totally different to us. It almost appears to us as a body of light, or light body. So beautiful. So I think we should do some thingies. Let's have a look at the chat, because I feel like getting wrapped up in the conversation. So speaking to right then, let me just have a look then. Sorry, I'm just going to grab some.
Well,
go on, Lizzie. Fire away. I'm just going to backtrack on the.
yeah, that's okay. So I'm just going to answer Francis. So that's a good point. At that time, it could be that our higher selves were having a conversation, and it channeled through to both of us at the same time. But I have been able to speak telepathically with people, so it feels different. So it's like when I speak to my guides, my team, beings of light, I speak to them telepathically. You know, like we're having a conversation. So yeah, but me and Colin the other day, yeah, it could have been our higher selves, you know, being sent the same or having the same thought at the same time. Sure.
Oh, hang on, let me jump on this. Right then, let's have a go at this. I'm just going to bring it up so I can see it properly. So
Okay,
thanks, Francis. Thank you, Francis. Let's have a look. Were you speaking telepathically, or was it your higher selves that put the thoughts into your mind? Well, I would say it was a form of telepathy. The higher self, or one of the frequencies of the higher self now, or was it your higher self? Now then, because this is interesting, Francis, you've just opened the door here. If you had been fortunate enough to come to the workshop yesterday, then your question would have been slightly different than this.
Oh, what would the question have been then?
Which frequency would have probably asked where she says, or is it your higher self, as in singular, higher self, higher self? Mm-hmm. It would have been, or was it one of the frequencies of your higher self? Because we know there are many. The higher self is made up of many frequencies.
Absolutely.
And that's why I put higher selves intentionally. What was that? That was what I put higher selves intentionally. Right then. Okay. So obviously, clearly, it was telepathy, because any form of thought communication is telepathic. Thought to thought, that's telepathy. So then the question is, we can then, if we want to dive into this, go, okay, which one? Because there's factors here, and if we look at the root of that communication, just out playing. So the question would be, did Lizzie have the thought, and I picked the thought up as far as into the light? Had Colin already decided on the title, and Lizzie tuned into the thought of it in that moment when I ask Lizzie, what shall we call it? and I'd already put into the light as I'm asking the question, and Lizzie said, I just thought that. So there's a route to all this through those different frequencies, because it's got to come in from one of the frequencies of our higher self. So you've got telepathy, the frequencies of the higher self. The question is, which one was it? What made the attunement to that thought? And then somehow both our ordinary minds have got to catch that thought as well. Our present consciousness, what we speak. So if we look at consciousness, subconsciousness, and soul consciousness. So our present consciousness had to catch it. Was it our present consciousness what thought it and sent it out? So this is like a maze. You could like zip around all over the space with this.
Yeah, because also you could say, well, if we are unity consciousness and every thought is part of the web.
Yeah, that one, Judith.
Then we can all know everything at the same time.
Yeah,
right?
Simultaneous. We're tapping into the present field of consciousness.
Yeah.
Which is present, as in present. Whatever's been thought now is present.
I just also had another thought when you were talking, which was, is it only telepathy if the other person is conscious of the conversation?
Right, got you. Now, it's got to be, because now this brings us, right, so what?
The reason I say this is when I've done healings on people, I tap into their higher self and I get information about what's going on with them, with their body, with their consciousness, with the things that are holding them back, the blocks.
Yeah.
And then when I have a conversation with them after, they're like, oh, wow, like that's very extensive. And I that's really interesting. And then it's almost like the confirmation of me saying that to them, they're able to then work through the blocks. And then that kind of can resolve the issue. Okay. So that's definitely me speaking, my higher self speaking to their higher self and it funneling to me. So that's why I'm saying, does the other person have to be conscious of it before it's telepathy?
No, I don't think it does, because once the mind has had the thought,
I don't think so either. But
it brings it back, doesn't it? It kind of brings us all the way back to, and this is the subject I love. Thought and consciousness. Okay, so what is thought, and what created thought? Did we have the thought before we thought of the thought? So then we enter the twilight zone at this point. Yeah,
because there's only a present moment.
Like Judith said, it's a minefield. So this is what I've done for years. I've liked to unravel everything because I've got to put it there so I can go, that's this, that's this, that's this. Okay. So where thought is concerned, make sure it's giving. Yeah, thanks. Give us an headache, Judith. So it's like in that unraveling of telepathy, we know telepathy officially is classed as thought-to-thought communication, or mind-to-mind communication, let's say. But simply because, let's say, in this case, Lizzie's had a thought, but Colin hasn't picked it up, but she's had the thought, and so that is with the intention of Colin picking it up, maybe, then it's like, just because Colin doesn't reach it and tap into it or tune to it, doesn't mean say it's not telepathy. I don't think. I mean, splitting hairs, but yeah. So go on. Sorry. Yeah.
No, I was just thinking about some of the experience that I've had with telepathy. So they're quite interesting.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, yeah.
Sue, let's have a look at Sue. Thank you, Francis. Thank you, Judith. This is good stuff. Putting mediumship, healing, trance, etc. to one side for a moment, what explanation, advice would you give someone newly awakening about how their energy is shifting and the changing as the cosmic waves move through them, the earth and the cosmos? So, this is going to be a stimulating one. Lizzie, over to you.
What would you give?
Oh, quickly, sorry, just can you bring that back up, Ava, please? Sorry, let's have a look quickly. So What would you give advice? Would you give someone newly awakening? I would tell them immediately, go back to sleep. You do not want to be waking up at this moment. It's like, go back to sleep. We'll wake you up later. That's so terrible to say, isn't it?
I mean, what advice would I give them? For me, I felt I needed solitude. I needed a lot of solitude as I was going through my awakening. There were times when I needed to be on my own. You know, meditation and nature.
Yeah.
You know, all that kind of stuff. But I needed to come back to myself, because I think basically that's what's happening. You're coming into your true essence. You're coming back to yourself. Okay. So you're coming back to source, right? I mean, because we are source.
Yeah.
So while you're obviously while there are going to be layers that needs to be lifted off of you in the process, you need to be able to have the space to be in solitude.
Yeah.
But it's also really important, I personally think, to surround yourself with the right people when you're not in solitude. People who understand the journey, who you can have a honest conversation with about it. Because the regular smuggler person on the street, you know, might not at all understand what it is that you're going through.
Yeah.
And then that makes it even more difficult, because you feel like the odd one out, right? So it is connecting with the right people and the right spaces in order to be able to kind of feel like you have some sort of support system.
Yeah.
That was really helpful for me. So
good point. Good point, Lizzie. Francis, self-care and self-compassion are a must. Yeah, so true.
Exactly.
I've got to be serious for a moment on this one now. So, well, not too serious anyway. Well, okay. So it's funny because I'm writing about this lately. In fact, I had it up on my screen today or yesterday. I think first thing we've got to, what I would say personally with this is, with every awakening is different. So in effect, what's happened is each soul what's arrived on the planet has brought specific conditions, a specific awareness, perception, understanding, etc., into this physical body in this incarnation. And we know each soul is, of course, energy, but therefore it's a mass of vibrations and frequencies of thoughts and emotions. And then overall, it's one specific note, color, chord, resonance, whatever we want to view it. So when an awakening takes place, it's as a direct result of the accumulated mass of energy from the experiences it's experienced through its life. Not just this life, but maybe several others prior to this. Maybe the soul goes, right, in 2-3 lifetimes, I'm going to that earth and I'm going to have an awakening because I need to light up and play my role in that task. So what we're looking at is when the soul actually has an awakening, there's a multitude of factors what's playing out immediately. So that's what makes each awakening different and very specific and unique to each one of us. So then what the next thing is, so what gravity, what was the power and the strength and intensity of a individual's awakening? Well, we know they vary from, this thought just appearing, there's something more to life, and that opens that mind and off they go on the journey, to a full-blown awakening. Boom, the old person's dead and this new person, a new consciousness, it's purified, all thoughts, all emotions, etc. And I'm familiar with that one. So we've got all these from the very, I don't want to say basic, but we've got from one end of the spectrum to the other. So then we go, okay, how can we deal with this awakening in that moment when it happens? And I think the very first thing is acceptance. Accept that it's happened to you, because many of the questions coming after an awakening is as a result of that mind failing to accept that it's actually happened, because they're questioning why it's happened.
Yeah.
And can't accept why it's happened. So it's acceptance is like massive in the moment. So it's like embrace it straight away, as quickly as you can. Nobody does that, but trying to do it. So we say, okay, acceptance is key. The next one is, and I think this goes along with what you've said, Lizzie. For me, there's like 5 to 10 stages what we need to take on board with the awakening at the very beginning. Protect your mind, protect your energies straight away. Go into protective mode. Now, some people go, come on, somebody's just awakened, you can't ask them to protect themselves. Right. The reason why I say that is because when somebody's had the awakening, we know the light's turned up. And if the light's turned up and we place ourselves in the same environments what we've always lived in prior to the awakening, then the energy in the environment is going to drag some of our light and drag out some of our energies. And then we can be in trouble, because then confusion can set in. Well, what am I supposed to be doing here? Am I supposed to stay in that world? Am I supposed to go in that world? And really, we should be trying to avoid it. And that's one of the reasons why I think protect your mind, protect your energies, and go, it's happened to me, however unique it is. This is a phenomenal thing, what's going on. I need time to myself straight away. I need time to myself and away from everybody to think and be mindful and reflect on what's happened to me. And then go forward from there. Know that, because a lot of people will go, well, why has it happened to me? Well, it's happening to every soul on the planet and off planet as well. This is a cosmic event, so it's not exclusive to this world. And this is where we start looking at things. Right. If the mind has had its awakening, we know it's got to be gentle with yourself. Be gentle with yourself, because there's going to be a big healing process afterwards. There's going to be a letting go, and it's going to be accepting change. Change is going to be constant every single day from the awakening, because we all know this.
Yeah.
And trying to embrace change immediately, because some of the awakenings can be a shock, but there's so much more. But I think you've just raised a absolutely brilliant point. So I would love to go into this one fairly, because I've got so much personal information, but so much written down, and I can't say too much because I'll give too much away. Too many of my secrets. Good question, Phil. Good question. And I think what everybody says on this is valid. The main thing is, I mean, there was the one I had, was ridiculous. Not ridiculous, I forgot. Nobody understood it, and even in the spiritualist churches, for at least 5 years, nobody could get what happened.
Yeah.
They didn't even know what an awakening was.
Yeah.
You know, it took somebody who had experienced something in a magazine in London. What I read, I was like, oh, there is one out there. Exactly. I mean, I'm talking 30 years ago, more. Yeah. So you know, you can imagine the spiritual space at that time. It was very limited.
Exactly.
Yeah. So anyway, Wolf, brilliant stuff. Expect the unexpected, and that's okay. Yes, absolutely. Always be yourself through your journey and what's right for you. Good point, Judith. And I think Lizzie would agree with this.
Yes.
What we're looking at here is authenticity. That is so important, that people are authentic, that don't be in denial of what's happened to you. Don't hide your light under the bushel. If your light's shining, shine it. If somebody gets affected by it, tough. Yeah. Sorry. Respect. I'll put it in a respectful way. If somebody gets disturbed by your light, they'll be okay. We'll put it that way. On the other hand, sometimes we've been given an assertive energy for a reason, because sometimes we need to use it to protect our light. So,
I mean, I have to say on that particular subject that that is one challenge in itself, isn't it? Because the more you shine your light, the more it causes other people to see the things within themselves that they're trying to hide, right?
Yeah.
And so the more you feel you're almost in opposition to a lot of people, because every time you walk into a room, it's like you're causing somebody to have some sort of reaction towards you, you know? And it's no reflection on the kind of person that you are. It's purely that you're kind of shining a light on the things that they they're trying to hide, or the things that they're trying to push down. It's not an easy thing, I have to say.
Lizzie, I'm laughing because obviously it's 100% right what you're saying. But the reason why I was laughing is like, you don't even have to walk in the room. These days, you've only got to be doing what we're doing, sitting here on Zoom, and it'll cause a reaction.
Anyway,
So,
but I feel like in person it's worse, because you feel someone's energy, in real life, and you feel the room's energy in real life when you walk into a room. So let's say you go into a spiritual space and the room almost stops, when you walk in, because your light is so bright, okay? And you feel it instantly, the shift in the room,
Yeah.
And then you feel the people who are clearly, aggravated by your light and your ascension, and so it takes a lot of personal power to really stand in your authenticity at those times,
Yeah, we know this, don't we? I think everybody in the space have experienced this, because I mean, we're bang in the middle of the transition, aren't we?
Yeah.
Between the third dimension, perception, understanding, and waking and mechanics on the planet, and the fourth, and so on. Yeah. We're in that transition. So I have a tendency, that's it. Since day one, I will not put it in certain spaces. Won't do that. I mean, there's so many other aspects, what we can probably both say. But then it brings us again to the title. It's about light. We're moving, it's into the light. It's all about light, light, light. The light of awareness, the light of ascension. Going back to the ascension aspect, we know an awakening, as much as it's, because really, for me, looking at it over the years, an awakening, we call it, or it's generally known as a spiritual awakening, which is brilliant because it's across the board. The other aspect is, in effect, what it is, it's a psychic expansion. The psyche is expanded.
Yeah.
That's why people start working with the psychic abilities more. So it's like, it's there, it's in our face, what's happened. We just happen to call it a spiritual awakening. Just have a look at that, what Judith put everybody. Sadly, that's very true. We have to learn not to focus on others, but our own path and direction spirit are taking us. Staying true is so important, regardless of what others are doing on their journey. Yes, absolutely. Yes, absolutely, Judith. Okay. I think, and this comes down to distractions, and this is a big thing in Buddhism for me as well. So it links into spiritualism. Distractions to the mind. We have got distractions. We've got external distractions. We've got internal distractions. Well, most people have got enough internal distractions going on without getting distracted from the external. Yeah. So, and correct. Again, we could say to somebody on the path, in fact, going to Sue's question, newly awakened, but also people what's been awakened for several years, or in the last, since COVID, or when the bulk of it happened. Don't be distracted. Keep focused. I've always had one rule: I walk with spirit, I sit with spirit, and I walk out with spirit. End of.
I kept thinking that when I was doing my mediumship and my trance, and I had a lot of opposition because I developed very quickly, and there were some people that were very angry that I developed very quickly. Not knowing my full story, obviously, because I don't go out and I didn't feel the need to be telling people my life story. I just turned up in those spaces to learn. And I kept my personal to my personal. So
well, that you can't do that. They want to know it all.
Yeah. But the thing is, anyway, so I had a lot of opposition, and I just had to learn to be like, okay, well, I'm turning up for this circle for me, for my development, and it's not about anybody else. and I will have to become the observer of what's going on rather than be emotionally invested in how other people feel.
Yeah.
Because their stuff isn't my stuff. It's got nothing to do with me. It really doesn't, you know? So the more you can learn to use that, that technique of becoming the observer, and just all you are observing really, in a sense, is that somebody's in pain and they're projecting that onto you, right?
Yeah.
And so if you can have empathy with them, but not get involved in it emotionally, you know, don't get tangled with it. That's what I would say. So I developed a lot of empathy for everyone around me that I felt a lot of opposition from. But I didn't emotionally get attached to the situation. I just kept my focus on, this is where I'm going, and no one needs to tell me what's right for me.
Yeah.
And if I'm going to be doing trance within 6 months of doing mediumship, and I'm able to do that, then that's a gift, and I'm going to be proud of that. I'm not going to have people tell me that, you know, I shouldn't be doing this and I shouldn't be doing. Why? If I'm able to do it, then surely that's what spirit wants. That's what my soul needs. That's my evolution, and I'm gifted, and that's good. That's not a bad thing. So
This I love it. This goes back to the point Judith was making about restrictions earlier. No restrictions now. It's like, no. I would say to people, if you can, still the mind. Sit down, still the mind, and with the thought that everything is energy and everything somewhere connects through wavelengths, frequencies, and vibrations. And whatever is going on internally and externally, there's a specific frequency to it. And find what that frequency is, and you'll find the answer and how to cope or how to deal with it. So, as an example, where we're drawn to frequencies which are quite nice and compassionate, and the energy is loving and kind, etc., then naturally it tells us, for most people, to want to be in that space. So we get drawn to it because we're reading the frequencies, we're reading the energies of it. And likewise with anything else. So when we start to really learn frequencies, what's in play, and which we can only do by understanding our own. And of course, that means looking at our own thoughts and emotions, not just in, you know, a shallow way, but in the most deep, profound sense of contemplation and release. And then we begin to really understand what a frequency is, and we relate to it. So when somebody else does feel that frequency, or they're projecting that frequency, we understand what it is, and we can deal with it appropriate, or in the appropriate fashion, so to speak. So
also another side to this, which is whenever you get triggered, regardless of how people are behaving, but if someone's behaving really badly and you get triggered, then it's your responsibility to look at why that's triggering you. Why are you not able to be the observer? Because then that would mean that you created that situation so that you could look at that thing inside. So that something that that's a projection of something that you need to solve within yourself. So again, it comes back to the self-development and the self-healing journey, or whatever you want to call it, self-development. So I had to go through that quite a lot. And I was like, okay, well, if it's really upsetting me, why is that really upsetting me? You know, where's that coming from? You know?
Yeah.
And then work on that so that I could become the observer. And I'm not saying I never get triggered. It happens here and there, but the period in which I feel triggered is so short now compared to what it was before.
Yeah.
So I learned a lot, actually, and I feel like it was actually part of my soul's journey to learn all those things so that I could really empty out those things within myself that were making me feel so triggered by people's behaviors.
But this is so important, Lizzie. So because I think this is what you're saying here, and we're at that point in the world today that we, unless everybody's sorted this side of themselves out, we ain't going nowhere. We'll just keep repeating the same cycles individually, collectively, and on a global scale.
Yeah.
And it's true, self-analysis helps us do this. For me, it's always been, self-analysis has been a massive, every single day. It's like, okay, what did you do today? What did you say? How did you behave? And you're like watching yourself, and you're taking that time to do it.
Yeah.
And sit there and go, okay. And then from there, you can alter the frequency. Yeah. You can transform the energy, which is incorrect, what you believe inside you. My conscience is telling me that was incorrect. I need to alter that frequency, et cetera, et cetera. Then we're getting somewhere. And that's, for me, what I'm seeing on the planet at the minute. This is where the magic, this is almost going into the magic, because seeing so many people working on themselves through shadow work, letting go, healing, etc. I mean, healing's always been the biggest thing anyway. Mediumship, trance, and channeling, with respect, they are not as big as healing. When we look at the healing, what's taking place on the planet in the spiritual space, I dare say that's double in the variations and different types of healing. That's double than all the rest of it. Even though we say, well, mediumship's massive, which it is, but inside there, it's the healing is.
Well, it's part of the consciousness, isn't it? And it's we've touched on this before about the grid, doing the grid work and the shadow work and all of that, and the distortions on the grid is all part of that, isn't it? So yeah, I agree. Healing is the most important thing.
I would say, sorry. Yeah, there you go. Thank you, because I wanted to, I know there was a couple what we missed. Chanda, is it, I hope she's still with it, is it possible to train trance and mediumship alone?
Interesting.
No, I'll fire away first rather than. Yes, Chanda, the answer is yes. Unquestionably yes. From personal experience, the answer is yes.
I agree.
And it's very pure when this is done in that way. Very pure, because it's you and your spiritual guides working with one thing, the light, and it's incredible. So that's the first part of my answer. The second part is, however, it's also exceptionally beneficial to be in a trance group or in a mediumship course, etc., etc. So that's when you can really get your practice in and train the mind in, whether it's mediumship or trance. So let's say ultimately, you can sit there, train your mind for trance. I know some people sit there, go into trance, alter state, but they've got the phone in front of them recording it, for anything what's spoken and what comes through. And there's more and more people doing that now. Mediumship, obviously you need a recipient, clearly. So mediumship in one respect, even though spirit can get your mind into a certain kind of state of awareness and attune to them, you need a recipient to get that message to. So practice in the circles or spaces, etc. That's mine. I put the other questions on to you, Lizzie, first off, and I thought, no, don't do it to her. Go for it.
Answered in the same way, to be honest. I think it's good to connect with spirit on your own, but I think it's important to sit in circles and workshops and all that kind of stuff. And I think it's also important, I mean, it was for me personally, just to go around and watch other people, how they work. I've always done that with whatever I've done, whatever I've learned. I've always watched a lot of other people, and then I've kind of taken little bits that I liked from those people, like the way that they do certain things, or, because it gives you a wider net of how to work, and then you can develop your own, you then develop your own way of working. But certain people have certain habits or whatever, and you might go, oh, I'm not so into that, or, oh, I love the way they did that, or I love how that person is so upbeat and they're spreading positivity and light and that's how I want to work. So you get inspired, you know.
Yeah.
But also when you sit in circles, it's just so fascinating to hear the evidence and, you know, the messages and all that kind of stuff, and feeling that sense of community when you're in the group with other people is just beautiful.
It is. I agree.
Right. So, and it makes you feel like, wow, you know, this journey is pretty amazing, right? We're very lucky to be on this journey.
Yeah. It's true. Thank you. Good question, Chanda. I hope you're still here to hear it. I just want to just quickly respond to what Judith put when she said, yes, spirit knows what we are capable of. If we focus on our own development and journey, we learn and develop much deeper. 100% I agree with this one, Judith, because we have, and it works both ways, doesn't it? What you've just said, Lizzie, is like watching others, their reflections, we get the benefit. Trying to see limit, don't matter what it is. But when it comes to because this was part of the other question, we learn and develop much deeper. I totally agree with this, Judith, because we're sitting there. This is how I learned in the beginning with spirit. And well, to be honest, I've always done it, but I never really set in developments. 2, I think, in the beginning. 1 didn't even last. So most of mine was with spirit and working in open circles and on the platform sometimes in the early days. But so most of it was developing literally with spirit, because they'll take us deeper. So brilliant. Caroline, hi Caroline, just popping in. Thanks for joining us. Hope everything's going well for you. Well, there was somebody else. I don't know whether they're here now. They might have gone. I think we can maybe have 5 more minutes and and then we'll probably call it a day. If anybody has got any final thoughts, any questions, thank you all for joining us. Just to kind of finalize and start as we start wrapping things up, Lizzie. Ascension, multi-dimensions into the light, almost as if it's like we're getting, the cosmos is pulling us up in that ascended form or aspect, and it's kind of like we were saying earlier, I suppose. In that process, we have no question, we have no other option but to let go.
Absolutely.
Your thoughts?
I do. I think there is no option than to surrender to the process. The more you try and control the ascension process, the more it's going to feel like you're in pain.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So you realize that surrender is your best friend.
Surrender is your best friend.
Yeah.
Brilliant. Tani, thank you so much for joining us. Judy, I just want to shout out to a few people. Tani, thank you. Lovely to see you. We're going to have an open circle in less than an hour on Menorca Consciousness Group, and we're going to have the meditation afterwards. We've got some great stuff coming up. We've also, tomorrow night, we've got what's called Portal to Transition. And tomorrow is very specific as far as that session is concerned. We've been guided and inspired to do a session beyond Zoom. And it's we know the change is happening, and we know the change is causing a lot more changes on different levels, different aspects, or all this stuff. And on one of those areas, it's to do with discarnate souls who are waiting to take their transition, whether it's these on the earth plane or those discarnate souls who are already in that space beyond the earth, what's hovering around the earth, or even indeed rescue work, whatever anybody wants to call it. But we'll be doing a sit-in tomorrow night, and it will be solely to generate energy with love and compassion and open a doorway, gateway, portal with beings of light, and then we'll be inviting any soul on the other side who wishes to go through it to transition to the higher vibrations. So that's quite special tomorrow night. Yeah, Lizzie, all we ask is that if people join you have your cameras on, no distractions whatsoever. Sorry, we can't allow any observers. We're not a zoo, so that won't be happening. I'll be kicking anybody off if they think they're going to come on and sit there looking at us and like we've got 5 heads. Quite assertive tonight. Sorry, I don't think it's me. Anyway, and then we've got a lot of other stuff coming up. One thing we have got is Egypt in April. We're going to Egypt. We'll be holding quite a special, I never said sacred, but event there in April. Coming back this way, 20th December, I'll be doing a Christmas special, which will be a talk and demonstration of mediumship, etc., for about 2 hours, maybe ish. So that's going to be quite, energetic night. Blah blah blah. Anyway, forget that lot. So quickly, if anybody wants to follow Judith Miller, she's out there. Check her out, everybody, if you will. The Sue Townsend. Francis Beck. So there's lots of people in the space at the minute. Please have a look at the names, have a look what they do, because everybody's doing something these days and it's amazing, and we should be helping and sharing and supporting each other as far as I'm concerned. So check everybody out. The list is too much to put on here. All beautiful minds. We're blessed to have beautiful minds in this space. I've got a comedian here, seriously.
We just had a person that said it would be nice if you could help with my question. Marlene.
Oh, Marlene's still here. Brilliant. Hi, Colin. Good afternoon. I've been feeling spirit around all times, and I feel like they want to communicate, but I don't know how to do it or who it is. Would you be able to tell me? I'll appreciate it. So, I've got my thoughts. I've got spirit here.
Go on then.
What you got thought? I didn't know whether he was going to say something, Lizzie.
Go on then.
Right. So clearly it's a gentleman, Marlene. Okay. It's likely your father, because I'm getting a connection with your father. If it's not your father in spirit, then somebody's looking after your father down here. So, and basically all I'm feeling picking up with this is they just want your attention. And very strongly, if I may, I want to say to you, it's to develop yourself more than anything else. There's other aspects and facets going on, because somebody's trying to bring some memories in around you, Marlene. Okay. Generally, I get watches, necklaces, and things like this. So the watch has just been thrown at me, not thrown at me literally, but your father is in spirit. Then there we go. Then I would say it's your dad, clearly, because that was the first. He was the first one what jumped in as soon as we get connected, Marlene. Okay, and he's doing this with his chin, as if he's scratching his chin, because sometimes he would get irritated if he couldn't get a clear, clean cut shave. But then on other occasions, he'd sit there pondering. So he was a bit of a ponderer, Marlene, okay? Before he made a decision, he'd have a good think about it, okay? And it's telling you, there's a decision you've got to make, and just contemplate it a bit further, a bit deeper, but you'll make the correct one, because he's behind you saying, she'll make the correct one, Colin, tell her. And now he's showing me a sack, and it looks like an army, the old army sack where they put all the boots and uniform in there, and they put the sack over the shoulder, like you see soldiers. So you can feel him now. I'm not surprised, Marlene. Okay, please, whatever you do, don't be concerned. Enjoy his presence. He's bringing you lots of love. Okay, he's taking me to your right leg because I know it needs healing. He's telling me so. There's also. Did you pick that up, Lizzie?
Healing, yeah.
Yeah. Go on, Lizzie. Have you got anything? You can carry on.
I was just going to say that I just felt like he really wanted to give her healing. Like he's around, that's why he's around her a lot. Like he's wanting. It is like he wants to make himself known, but he's really just there to help you with the healing.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh yes, my leg was itching yesterday. Well, take the healing, Marlene. Okay.
And the other thing I would say is like I'm picking up that you've been having like a really cluttered mindset. So I feel like he's also there for that, like healing of the mind, allowing to kind of let that clutter go in your mind so that you can have more clarity and make this decision that you need to make.
Hopefully that helps you, Marlene.
I hope that helps.
I'm pleased you stayed with us. So, and he's saying he loves you because you didn't get a chance to hear his voice before he went to spirit. He's just said to me. Anyway, I hope that helps. Looks like we're going to be doing a demonstration one evening with Lizzie.
Yes.
Just walk. Marlene, thank you, because you've just got Lizzie to walk straight into another invitation.
It's so funny because I was thinking about that before we started this.
Must be telepathy. Was it your thought or my thought or spirit?
I know, it's always happening.
Lizzie, tell us about what you've got coming up, where people can...
I mean, I'm quite busy this month with just bits and bobs, but not so much spiritual things because, you know, I'm busy with other things.
Yeah.
But then, yeah, next year, I think there's going to be a lot of exciting stuff happening next year. I can feel something big's coming in. I'm just kind of trying to stay in the flow and just waiting to see, you know, what turns up, what's happening. So, yeah.
Thanks, Judith. Thank you, Judith. Yeah, funny you mentioned that, Lizzie, because on New Year's Eve, well, it looks like we're going to have a retreat over Christmas and New Year for 28, I think it's the 29th, 29th, 30th and 31st, we'll have a retreat. But on New Year's Eve, we're going to have an open circle and it will be followed by a special session of predicting the future. Well, everybody's going to turn into Nostradamus for the evening.
That'd be fun.
We did it last year and it was like, okay, let's get together. Let's see if anybody can, and we kind of do a bit of a meditation and see if spirit shows anybody aspects of the year ahead. So because the question is, can we predict the future? Of course we can. So, and we're having that. So it's funny you just mentioned something big coming. No, I'm of the same thinking, Lizzie. I don't want to say something. No, I'm going to say it. Let's say it. We ain't got to Christmas just yet.
Exactly.
I'll say that.
Yeah.
Anyway.
So let's wrap up because you got the circle on soon.
Yep.
And, for
Lizzie.
everyone going to attend that, I'm sure they want to just have something to eat or whatever beforehand. So
thank you. So I loved it, Lizzie. Always love talking and chatting.
Oh, it's been so much fun. And thank you everyone for your questions and your attendance, and it was really nice.
I think we should do what do we predict correctly from? Did we predict correctly from last year? Francis, we was asking that question last night. Apparently it's recorded, so we've got to go through it. So we need somebody to check the recordings who will sit there and watch it and tell us if anybody did predict anything. We think Christine might have predicted something correct, but don't put that out there publicly. Oh, too late. So anyway, thank you so much, everybody. We really appreciate your light, your love, and your support. A special thank you to Lizzie.
Thank you.
Brilliant, Lizzie. Really enjoyed it. Thank you so much. So kind of you. And to Ava, thank you so much for working in the background. And of course, to all those beautiful beings of light for inspiring us to come together. And next time they might get a bigger chance to talk through us. They're like, well, come on, you've got to let us in a bit more. But
we might do a little different session at some point. A channel.
We've got to.
Yeah. Mutual channel session. That would be fun.
Yeah. I get fed up of hearing myself, so you know. It's like, seriously. Seriously, honestly. I do my own editing, never mind anybody else's.
I'm like, oh my God. The sound of my own voice, honestly.
Margaret, thank you, Margaret. Thank you, Sue. Everybody else. And there's one. Please let me find it. KJ Hearts. I don't know, she might have left by now. I might put some in the chat to her afterwards. Bless her. So, Lizzie, thank you for everybody. We'll see you very soon. Tuesday, I'll be back on Tuesday with a live. So,
perfect.
Well, if I'm alive. So, thank you so much.
I'm going to see you at the circle soon. So,
see you all soon. 10 minutes. No, joking. Half past. We're in there 40 minutes. Lots of love to everybody. Thank you. Take care. Bye bye. Bye bye.